going to introduce you to another gentleman that works very, very closely with this group and was working with them even longer than I have been working with them. But first let me tell you, this was the most musical group we've had as well. Not only the largest group, but the most musical. They sat down and played musically right away. The louds were louds, the softs were soft, the parts that were supposed to be separated, I'll say staccato for those musicians in the crowd, staccato and legato, long, everything was music from the get-go. Had a couple note issues here and there, rhythms, whatever, we can take care of that. But when they can play so musically, it was a fabulous experience today. This other person is like the left side of my brain, I think. So when I have a thought, he says it out loud and vice versa. And then his wife usually just looks at the two of us and says, oh, yep, they're thinking the same exact thing. I know what they're thinking. So I want to introduce you to Toby Komet. He is the band director at Southgate Anderson. So that's about 3/4 of the band here, half and half, or whatever it is. And he's going to tell you just a tiny bit about the NABA experience. All right, Toby Komet.
Hello, it is wonderful to see all of you and all your students here. The thing I'm going to talk to you about is called the North American Brass Band Association Championships. And what it is a brass band competition. Last year, our youth band that we have regularly went to this competition for the first time ever in the history of the band's existence. So it was really an exciting thing. NABA is an event where many of the brass bands from around the country, and some from around the world come from other countries to compete against each other. It's actual competition, brass band against brass band. But basically it is a wonderful weekend of music making and a terrific time for kids. It's very inspirational. It's an excellent experience for kids. The reason I mention it is because we will be taking another trip this year with our youth band to NABA, and that will be happening in March, a little bit earlier than it did last year. It's happening in March, middle of March, March 14th and 15th, and we'll be traveling this year to Fort Wayne, Indiana for that. It travels around the country. Last year it was in Grand Rapids, this year it's in Fort Wayne. We've gone down to Kentucky for it, and we've gone to Washington, D.C. for it, but this year it's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we will be taking that trip. And another just positive thing is that we were able this year, luckily, to get a grant to help defray the cost of that, to pay for a lot of the expenses that go along with that trip. Will be covered through a grant that we received earlier this year for about $4,500, I think was the grant cost that we received for that, to take the youth band to NABA. So we'll be doing that later. Very excited about the trip, and hopefully the students will be too.
All right, one more song with us, and then on to the adult band.